giving people the space to have these hard conversations. When I watch people in this film, there's some people I think like, I wouldn't say that, or I think you're wrong about that, but I'm overall respectful that they even take the time to try to work out their complicated feelings at the risk of someone seeing a movie theater and judging them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just listening, basically, and also really approaching it in a kind of non-judgmental way, whereas, I always say, which, people might have a problem with, but if you say something in an interview and you feel really like you didn't mean to say it that way, I won't use it, because I do want people to speak freely and naturally and comfortably, and, I misspeak all the time. And so if it were me, I would want that kind of opportunity to correct myself if necessary. So it's kind of just making people feel like they're in a safe environment.
Who's got a question? Yep, back there.
First of all, you're all so cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Especially you. So fucking cool. I wanted to know, as doc filmmakers, why do you think people do speak up? Like, why do you think they're telling you about things that adds to their own trauma? People reacting and calling them cunts and bitches for saying something that happened to them. And Megan, you too, you spoke up. Why did you do that?
Okay, so the story for me is personal. Not that he did it to me, but I had been in a situation in which I was abused by a comedian. I've had friends who have been abused by comedians, and I couldn't help but notice that no one cared. And so when I found out, I know, that's what I was like when I found out. So when I heard this story and I saw just the grand scale on which people didn't care, because I was a comedian, my friend was a comedian, we were abused by comedians, comedian to comedian, we are the same, entity. Yes, the guys were more successful, but the fact that no one cared about someone else, someone else in this field being victimized, basically, was what, made it, important to me, which is why I went to JFL and all that. And afterward, I guess that was sort of, when I had to, I really had to decide the extent to which I could still be complicit by, working in the traditional entertainment industry that would allow things like this to happen. And I decided, that I couldn't, and so now I'm just SAG ultra low budget until I die. And that's fine, though, because I'm not delusional enough to think that I'm for everybody or anything like that. But it was very disillusioning, but I don't regret it at all, because it really, because it mattered to the women in the same way that, the very few people who talked when it happened to me, it mattered to me, so, yeah.
I think that people agree to speak up for so many different reasons, and I think, for Jen, she talks about how this is now something that's that she's going to be associated with forever, so why does she continue to talk about this? But she sees that something hasn't changed. So I think that that's a part of it. And I think, with speaking up, I think in the film, in the open secret section, Allison Herman talks about how there are all these rumors that were growing, but there weren't names attached to it. So it was easy to kind of just, consume the content and turn away. So I think that, it can feel like there's so little to gain by speaking out, but everyone who is willing to put their name on something is doing such a service, so we're just incredibly grateful.
Yeah, and a lot of the Me Too, the first gen of Me Too now sort of serves as a cautionary tale for women moving forward, because they've seen what's happened to these women that have gone forward in the first place, and it's not a good thing. And so I know of things that have happened with people who are very successful, like Louis C.K. doing things that are even more sexually improprietous. But I know that the women don't want to come forward because all they're going to get is grief. All they're going to get is every time their name is Googled, It's going to be alongside their attackers till they fucking die, and they don't want that.
Just one last thing. So Abby Schachner, who's in the film, I mean, she says, she tells the story of how her friend knew this all along and he never told her. And she was really mad at him because she said, if you had told me, I wouldn't have been duped. I would have gotten off the phone. I would have, and then at the end of the film, she kind of talks about, you know, she wanted to support the other women who are coming forward, so that's why she chose to be in the article. So, you know, some of it is just being supportive of other people, and so the information is out there so people can protect themselves, I guess.
Question right there.
I'm curious, as filmmakers and storytellers, I feel like y'all did a really good job of putting a spotlight on the Comedy Cellar owner and Matt Damon and Jon Stewart, and holding some other people accountable who had this information who are in the spotlight. But how can we zoom in even further on, like, it takes a village? There are managers and agents and secretaries and lawyers. There's so many people who help enable these things, but because their name is Ethan Smith, it doesn't hit a New York Times headline, but they played a part in it. And it's not to say that they are villains, that they're monsters. They have families, they have jobs, they have reasons to be scared too. But how can we put a bigger spotlight on society enabling and accepting all of these things and starting to be safe?
So if anyone didn't hear, she's talking about when sexual impropriety happens, there are enablers all around. And you know, have you thought about ways in which to illuminate that culture?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons we made the film, is because, you know, to kind of make the audience think about these things for themselves. I know we had so many conversations during the making of the film about our own personal experiences. I mean, there are times when almost I heard the same rumors when I was in my 20s and working in public television about an executive. Everyone knew them. I didn't really know the woman who was at the center of it, but did I do anything? No. So part of the film is meant to make people kind of think about their own experience in life and kind of question their own decision making. And so, you know, I feel very, you know, almost sympathetic to everyone who's been in a position and hasn't behaved the way they maybe should have, because I think a lot of us have kind of been there. So the film is supposed to help kind of navigate, like get your mind around these issues and maybe have you think about them in a different way.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I felt like in making this film, I came to understand how much we obsess and focus on the person who's accused, and in that way it almost makes it easier for us to like absolve the rest of us and not think about the role that everyone else played over all of these years and enabling the behavior or silencing people who came forward. So that's not an answer for what to do, but it's definitely something that I have been thinking a lot about, and like Caroline said, think about all the time in my own life of when was it just simply easier to not say something.
I think silencing and threatening people should be a prosecutable offense. Actually, no, I think it should be an executionable offense. I think Dave Becky should be guillotined.
Megan, for people who want to follow you besides just eBay, is there, I think you really blew it giving away the Spanx thing. All these people are going to go out and start selling Spanx on eBay tomorrow. It's going to cut into your business.
They don't know where I'm getting them. Beat my price. Try me.
Is there a place they can follow your work?
My personal website is inoffensivecomedian.com, and you'll find all my information there.
You're one of the first audiences to see Sorry Not Sorry. It's playing here at the IFC Center. Please tell your friends to go see it. I want to thank you for coming. Thanks especially to Caroline, Cara, and Megan.